Hello, today I'm going to talk about the Australian monetary policy in response to the COVID 19 pandemic. To give you a macroeconomic snapshot, we look at data from before COVID 19. From 2009 to 2019, Australia's GDP grew at an average rate of about 2.5% annually. In the same period, inflation rate stayed in the range of 1 to 3.5%, while unemployment rates hovered between 5 and 6%. However, during and after the COVID 19 pandemic, the country's economic indicators showed that it suffered a big setback and the damages reached its peak around the second quarter of 2020. During these few months, GDP growth and inflation rates plummeted to negative 7% and negative 0.3% respectively, while unemployment rose to 7.5%. These problems originate from lower aggregate demand, which was a consequence of business being closed, people losing their jobs, and investors having very low confidence in the market. After public health regulations were loosened, the situation has improved slightly. As of the latest figures released by the Reserve Bank of Australia in September 2020, year-on-year GDP growth is currently at negative 3.8%, the inflation rate is 0.7%, and unemployment rate is 6.8%. In 2019, the cash rate of Australia was reduced to 0.75%. The bank set it this low because it had to respond to the uncertainty caused by the US-China trade war. However, during 2020, the RBA was forced to take even more drastic measures. At the end of the year, the cash rate is decreased to 0.1%. The yield on 3-year government bonds were also decreased to 0.1%. The RBA also purchased $100 billion worth in government bonds, as well as establishing term funding facility in order to loan out credit at low interest rate for credit institutions. When we look at the change in money supply, we see that in 2020, the growth in Australia's money supply reached 12.7% in November, which is significantly higher than in any other period in the past. So the impacts of the policies on the money market, according to theory, is that by injecting money into the economy, the MS moves to the right. As this happens, nominal interest rate suffers downward pressure and will decrease. However, with more money in circulation, this devalues the currency. According to the quantity theory of money, the increasing in supply of money will also lead to an increase in output. More money increases aggregate demand because it encourages higher consumption and investment. As this happens, output will increase and unemployment will decrease. At the same time, price level as well as inflation will go up. I believe that the change of policy by the RBA was appropriate for the situation, and the policies had allowed the economy to partially absorb economic damages.